morning, welcome. So, okay, you you can start the class, teacher. Good morning, Rafaela, Camila. Good morning. Welcome. We had 1 hour, guys. Enjoy the class and learn. And remember, if you have some questions, you can turn the microphone and ask your question directly to the teacher, or you can send your question by chat. Okay. Okay, Sad, the class is yours. You can start.
All right. Okay. Good morning, everyone. All right. So today we are starting with some basic definitions of geometry. It's about points, lines, planes, points, line, plane, angles, and like some special angles, special angle pairs. All right. So let's start with the point. And so a point is used to describe an exact location in space or in plane. Okay, if we want to pinpoint something's location, then we use a point. A point do not have any length, width, or height. Okay. And it do not take any space. We represent the points by the dots on the pictures or on graph. On graphs or even on pictures. And we use capital letter to label them. Like, let's say, for example, this. Let's say we have a XY plane, right? And so this is our XY plane. Then this is, let's say, this is a point A, right? So it represents a location. It just represents a location. Let's say we have a point here, B. It also represents a location. It do not have any width, any length. It do not cover any space. So that's why it is also a zero dimensional object. It do not have any dimension. So it's a zero dimensional object. Okay, so let's say, for example, we have a, let's say, just trying to, like, for example, let's say we have some map of somewhere, right? Let's say, it doesn't matter whichever it is, right? And we want to, let's say these are some cities or something, and we want to point, let's say, with some city, right? Let's say this, we give it a name. We can give any name to this, right? So we can use the point. We can use the point to mark any cities. Let's say we have London. So we want to represent, like, we will use a point on the map to represent London, right? Like this. Okay, this next thing is, okay, so next one is the line. Next one is the line. Okay, so a line is infinite many points that extends on both sides, on both ends, infinitely. Like for example, let's say this is here is a line. Okay, so similarly, like a line, like a point, line only have length. Line only have length. It do not have width or height or volume. It just have length. It extends on both ends infinitely. It never stops. Like it's going on both ends infinitely. These arrows represent that it's extending to infinity. Okay, and we represent it using capital letters. Like for example, this line, it's represented as AB, right? And then we have a small line on it. This represents the line AB, right? Or we can also write it as BA. It does not matter. You can use any 2 points, 2 capital letters, A, B, or BA. Or we can also use the small letters G. Okay, this G, this letter G is also representing the line. Okay. All right. So the next thing is, let's say we have a line, but on one endpoint, it have one endpoint. Right. So in this case, we call this a ray. It's a ray. Okay. One endpoint is fixed. One endpoint is fixed, and extend other endpoint, other end extends to infinity. So like it's closed at one end and the other end is. So we represent the ray AB like with one arrow on one side like this. Okay, and we cannot write it as this is not true. Okay, this one is not true. We cannot write it like this because the endpoint is the one from where we are starting. Okay, like that. And now let's say if we just have a part of a line, right? We have a part of a line which have both endpoints like this. Then we call that line segment. Exactly the same word, part of the line. Segment means the part, so line segment, it means the part of the line, and it ends on, and it have a finite length. It have finite length. Okay, and we represent it by, let's say, AB, and no arrows on any side, okay, like this. Or you can also write it BA, it does not matter, because the length of the line remains the same no matter from where you measure it. The next definition that, or the thing that we are having here, is the plane. Is a plane. It's not the plane that flies. It's a plane that is like, you can think a plane is like a huge sheet of a huge sheet which extends to infinity on all sides. Like, let's say we have a sheet like this, all right? Let's say it has some points A, B, and C, and you can also name this whole thing as M, all right? So you can imagine that this sheet is extending to infinity on all sides. That's a plane, right? So plane have two things. Plane have two things, length, and it have width. Just like you can think of like your computer screen, it have length and width, let's say, you can say, but it do not have any volume. It do not have the volume. Okay, so now let's see something else. Okay, if we have 2 points, 2 points, we can only have exactly one line through them. We need 2 points to make a line, or you can say, if you have 2 points, let's say this and this, let's say CD, you can only pass exactly one line from them. You cannot pass more than one lines through the 2 points, because even if you try to, that will still be the same line. And from one point you can pass infinite many lines. Let's say I have a point here like this. I can pass as many lines from it as I want. Like here, another line, let's say I have another line here, I have another line there, and so many other lines. Like, it does not like count, you cannot count. You can have infinite many lines that can pass through one point. And okay, so the points that lies on a line are called collinear points. The points that lies on a line are collinear points. Okay, and intersection of two lines gives a point. Let's say two lines intersect. Let's say this is line L, this is line G. Okay, so the point where they intersect this is a point P. So you can also say that the point is the intersection of two lines. Okay. All right. So the other thing that we was looking at was the planes, right? So similarly, the points that lies on the same line are called collinear points. The points that lies in same plane, on a same plane, okay, are called coplanar, coplanar points. These are coplanars because they exist on the same plane. And the intersection of two planes gives us a line. Okay, let's say we have plane. This is one of the planes, right? And I will just try to draw another plane. Let's say these are the two planes. Let's say this is M, this plane is N, all right? So let's say they're intersecting here. If you can see, let's just try to so this is the intersection of these two planes. So the intersection of the two planes makes a line. And to represent a plane, we need three non-collinear points, like 3 points. We need 3 points that do not exist on one line, because let's say if we have it here, let's say I have 3 points here, A, B, C. So can you tell that it's a plane? No, we cannot be sure that it's a plane. It can still be on a line. Let's say if there is no plane, okay, like this. So 3 points, collinear points on a line, they are still making a line. But let's say if my point C is not on this, if my point C is not on this line, let me just draw 3 non-collinear points. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Let's say now I can make a line through this. Okay. Or I can have a line from B and C, right? But I cannot, all of these 3 cannot be on the same line. So if you see, if I have the 2 lines like this is actually a plane, like most famous, like if you have heard the word XY plane, right? So that one line is the x-axis and the other line is the y-axis. So that's a plane, right? So like you may see it makes a sheet. You can think of it, it's like a sheet. It needs a sheet for 3 points that are non-collinear on it. So we use 3 points A, B, C to represent a plane. Okay, so next thing that we have is angles. when two rays meet at an endpoint, when two rays meet at endpoints, they make an angle. Like this. Let's say we have a ray here and we have a ray here. Okay. Let's say. So this one is an angle. So we can represent this by the so angle is represented by the symbol to represent by this, right? Or you can say that if you want to specify the angle, let's say this is, you can say that this is angle B. This endpoint where it meets, this one is called the vertex as well. Okay, this one is the vertex, and this one is arm, and this one is also an arm. You can, like, if you want to distinguish between them, you can say this is an opening arm and this is the closing arm. Like the angle, like if you're measuring the angle from this direction to that direction, this one is the starting arm or opening arm, or you can say starting arm, and this one is the closing arm. And or other sometimes we cannot just use one letter to represent the angle. Sometimes it can be confusing, or so we can also use three letters. Let's say like A, B, C. The center one represent the vertex, and then A, B, and C. This is also representing the same angle. Why we use that? Because let's say I have an angle like this. My bad. It's not very good drawing. Let's say I have an angle like this. All right. The three rays are starting from here, right? Now, let's say this is A, this is B, and this is C, and this is D, right? Or wait, let me get the D a little. Let's say this is D, right? Now, if I say that, if I refer to as angle B, if I refer this to as angle B, it's confusing. I don't know which angle is that I'm talking about. If I am talking about this angle, or here if I'm talking about this angle, it's confusing. So but if, let's say, if I am talking about the black one, I want to refer to the black one. If now I will write the angle ABC. Now I'm very clear that I'm starting from here, I'm going to the B, and then I'm going there. So I'm talking about this angle, I'm not talking about the other angle. So sometimes you can use three letters, A, B, C, or if sometimes just there is one isolated angle and it's not confusing, you can use a single letter as well. There is like, when we're talking about angle, there is two parts of an angle: interior and exterior. Okay. So we had a ray, let's say this is an angle. So the part of the plane that is in between the two arms, okay, the part that is in between the two arms here is the interior. This portion is the interior, and the part of the plane which is outside, this one, small part, that is the exterior, and this one inside is the interior. Total measure of an angle in a circle is 360, or you can say total measure of angle in degrees in a circle is 360. You can say in a circle or in a plane, same thing, because you can think of it like this. So like the total angle here from here to here is 360 degrees. You can measure this using the protractor or some other methods as well, right? Yeah. Okay, so right. So let's say if an angle do not have any measure, right? Let's say this is B, we have just one ray and the other ray is also overlapping it. Same, no angle, right? Then it's called zero angle. That's a special angle, you can say, or something. It's a zero angle, right? It do not have any interior. And if we have two angles, let's say like this, let's this is like, let's say C E A. So the angle ADC and angle CDE, they are adjacent angle. Wait, sorry. They are adjacent angles. Okay, then now comes then some special pair of angles. Though there is some special pair of angle. Let's start. If two lines, let's start with vertical angles. Vertical angles. Okay. So let's say the two lines intersect. Two lines intersect. Let me give it name. Let's say, okay, 1, 2. These are the four angles that are formed. It forms four angles. Let's say we just name them A, B, C, D, E. All right. We have these angles. So the vertical angles are the opposite angles. They are congruent. The opposite angles are congruent. Like, let me color them. See, this blue and this blue. The blue and the blue, they are the opposite angles. So opposite pair of angle angles is congruent. Congruent, or you can say same measure. Okay, they have the same size, same exterior measure. Okay? That's okay. And so let's say if we look at this angle ABC, this is the symbol for the congruent. This is the symbol for the congruent. It's congruent to angle ABC is congruent to angle EB D, because B is the vertex. All right, so these angles are congruent. Plus, they are also vertical angles. They are vertical angle. Another pair of vertical angle that we can see is CBD, right? CBD is also congruent to ABE, angle ABE, or you can say angle A. All right. So this is the vertical angles that we have. Then the next one that we have is, okay, let's say that we can have complementary angles. Complementary angles. If the sum of two adjacent angles is 90 degrees, they are called complementary angles. Let's say we have like this. Okay, this is a 90-degree angle we have here. Let's say we give them names. Let's say this is A, B, C, D. All right. So the angle ABC and angle CBD, their sum is 90 degrees. So these two are complementary angles. Okay, like this. So like you can write let's say I give them the names, the angles inside. We say this is angle 1, this is the angle 2. Angle 1 and angle 2. This is angle 1 here, this is angle 2 here. So angle 1 plus angle 2 is equals to 90 degrees. Or in general A plus B, or you can say angle A, angle B is equals 90 degrees. This is the complementary angles. Next one is supplementary pair of angles. Supplementary angles. If sum of two adjacent angles is 180 degrees, then those are supplementary angles. Let's say the angle A plus angle B equals to 180 degrees. If the sum is 180 degrees, then it's a supplementary angles. Let's say we have this and this and this. We call this angle 1, angle 2. Okay. Or we can even name them. That's also fine. Let's say this is A, B, C, D. anyway, like you can write them with the numbers inside them or the other one. Okay, this is T. So if their sum is 180 degrees, then we call them the supplementary angles. They are also supplementary angles. They are also called, sometimes you can also call them straight angle. Okay. Why we call them straight angle? Because they make a line. Okay? They make a line. This is a line. This angle is 180 degrees and this much angle is also 180 degrees. So if we have two angles, let's say here A and this angle B, then the sum of these two is 180. So actually their measure is same as the angle on a straight line. So they are called as straight angles, or you can say straight pair of angles, straight angles. Now let's say if we have, now let's next thing is angle, congruent angle, or you can say angle bisector. Okay. Let's say we have something is angle bisector. Let's say we have an angle here. Okay. A, B, C, and we bisect it into two equal sections by the ray D. Another ray is making the two equal parts. Okay, this and this, these two are equal, right? So this is the angle bisector. So then the angles angle A, B, D and angle D, B, C, those are congruent angles. We do not use the word equal for them because you can see they are having different names and they are on different positions, but their measurement is same. How open they are, it's same for them. So the word congruent represents that they can be on different places but their measure is same. Let's say one angle is here, angle ABAC, okay, and another angle is there, same, DEF. Okay, so if their measurement, let's say this is 30 degrees, this one is also 30 degrees, so we can say that these two are congruent angles, but they are not equal, obviously, because they are not same. This one is having different names and they have different place, so we don't use the word equal, but we use the word congruent. Okay. Now there is some more classifications, that is acute angle. Okay, acute angle. Okay. If the angle measure is in between 0 to 90 degrees, then we call it acute angle. Let's say something like this. Let's say it's a 76 degrees. Okay, so it's a acute angle. Acute angles are less than 90. Right? Then comes the right angle. Next thing is right angle. Right angle is if the angle measurement is exactly 90 degrees. Okay, if it is exactly 90 degrees, it's called right angle, and it's represented by a two lines like this with a box here. This box, it represents that this is the right angle. It means the angle between them is 90 degrees. Okay, so what if it is more than 90 degrees? Okay, if angle measure is between 90 to 180 degrees, then we call it an obtuse angle. Then we call it an obtuse angle. It's more than 90 degrees. Okay, and less than more than 90 degrees. Let's say it's 125 degrees. Something, just remember. So it's more than 90 degrees, but less than 180 degrees. That angle is called the obtuse angle. So this again, it's the same thing, straight angle that I described before. If it makes a line or its measure is 180 degrees. So if there is an angle with measure 180 degrees, there is an angle whose measure is 180 degrees, then we call that as a straight angle. Now quickly let's try some practice. No, just some few questions related to it. Let's say we have this, okay, and this is x plus 40 degrees, okay, and this is 5x minus 200. We don't know what the x is right now, but we want to figure out what the x is. Okay. Can anyone tell me which angle are these? Anyone like to tell me? Can tell in chat or just the name, say it. No? Okay. So these are these angles. If you see the two lines are crossing, so these are the vertical angles. These are vertical angles. So these are vertical angles. So vertical pair of angle, they have the property that they are congruent, they are equal. That's the property with the vertical pair of angles. So the x plus 40 degrees should be equals to 5x minus 200 degrees. So now we need to find what the x is. So we will just combine the like terms on both sides. So we will add the 200 on this side and subtract the x on the other side. So we have 240 equals to 4x, and then when we divide it by that, so 4x equals to 240. So x is equals to 4 divided by that gives us 60 degrees. So the x is 60 degrees. It does not mean that this angle and this angle is 60 degrees. We still need to find what this angle is. So let's say this is x plus 40, right? So 60 plus 40 is 100. This angle, if we check, will also be 100. 5 times 60 minus 200. that's 300 minus 200, that's also 100. So you see both of the angles are 100 and 100. Now my next question is that how much is this angle? Let's say this is A, or let's, okay, instead of A, let's just give it a name 1, and this is 2. I want to know how much is 1 and how much is 2. So how we can find it? We can find it using another special angle, pair of angle that we learned. If you see, let's say this is line L and G. These two angles, the one of the red and the black one, they are making up a line. They are making up a line. Okay? So see, this one plus this one is making a straight line. Let me give them color, different color. Let's say this. I'm giving that the blue color. You see, these two angles, they make up a line. Similarly, we can use different options. It's not necessary. Like this one and this one, they're also making a line. We can use that. Or the other one is, like if this and this, the yellow ones, they're also making a line. So we can use any of that and write it equals to 180. Let's say we use the yellow ones. Okay? The angle, measure angle 1 plus, it's not 1 degrees, it's just the name of the angle. Okay? And the angle, and the next angle that we have, let's say we give this a name. Let's say A, B, C. Okay? This one. It should be equals to 180 because they make up a line. You see this yellow one, they make up a line. The sum of angle 1 plus angle that makes angle ABC, this angle that this is, let's say this is ABC. So angle 1 and angle ABC, they make up a line. So that's 180 degrees. So we are trying to find the near angle 1. So this one is it's given, which we have already found. We have already found it. It was 100. So then we subtract the 100 on both sides. So the angle 1, the mere angle 1 is 80 degrees. Mere angle 1 is 80 degrees. Okay, I have some other examples, but I have to touch another topic, so let's just go to next one. Okay, so here we are talking about conditional statements. Okay, so in mathematics, a statement is something that can be either true or false, right? It cannot be a question mark. It cannot be something like which is ambiguous, right? You can say sky is beautiful. It's not a statement mathematically, because someone can say yes, it is beautiful. Someone can say no, it's not beautiful. So it depends on opinion of everyone. So you cannot be for sure what is it true or not. So a statement is something like which is either true or false. It's conditional statements. Like if a condition is true or false, that's what we talk about. So if a statement, if a statement statement can be written as if P and then Q form, then it is a conditional statement. P part, if part, or you can say if P. All right, if part is called hypothesis, and then part is called conclusion. Okay, if part is the hypothesis and then part is the conclusion. All right, let's make a statement. Oh, before we make a statement, let's do another. So there is an symbol for it, is this symbol. Okay, this symbol is called implies. It's written like this. If it's written like this, it means A implies B. So let us make a statement. If today is Thursday, then yesterday was Wednesday. Okay. In this, if part is, the hypothesis is today is Thursday. This part is P. Okay, this is P, hypothesis. Then what conclusion we get from it? The Q, the conclusion that we get is yesterday was Wednesday. So, and we can write this as P implies Q, right? Now, this statement have two possible answers. It can be true or it can be false. Okay? So like you can say, okay, so we know that it is true. If today is Thursday, yesterday was the Wednesday. We know it's true. There's no unclarity in this. Okay, so this is a conditional statement here. In conditional statement, there is some other things that we use. It's used in logical reasoning. Okay, so let me just write. So there is some other terms: converse, inverse, contrapositive. Okay, so let's say the original statement is P implies Q, right? The original statement was P implies Q. That's the original statement, right? So the converse will be, the converse of original statement is Q implies P, right? Let's say like the example that we just saw, it would be then we switch the if then part. We switch the if and then parts. So like now we will say if yesterday was Wednesday, then today is Thursday. So okay, so this one is also true, but it's not always true that if the statement is true, then its converse is also true. It's not necessary. Let's say I say that someone lives in New York. Okay, let's say we say that if, just give any name, let's say Jules lives in New York. Okay, then he or she, whatever, lives in US. All right, But if you look at the inverse, this is okay, converse of this statement, the converse of the statement will be, the converse will be, okay, lives, if he lives in US, then he lives in New York, which is not necessary. Okay, if lives in US, then which is not necessary, he can be living in anywhere else. So the converse of a true statement is not always true. It's not necessary that it's always true. Then after the converse, there is something called inverse. Inverse is you just make it not and not. You make the opposite of that. You just make the opposite of that. Like inverse is not P. This is the not sign. Okay, you can say negative or you can say not. Negative of P implies Q. Okay, so like this. So like for example, like this. If the I'm taking the original statement. Okay? If today is not Thursday, then yesterday was not Wednesday. Okay, that's our inverse. We do that the opposite. And then the contrapositive is you do the not and then you switch them. Not Q. This one, if the original one, the original is true, then the contrapositive is also true. So for this one, it will be if yesterday was not Wednesday, then today is not Thursday. So these are just some basic conditional statements and some of the things in it. Okay, is there any question?
Guys, is clear, or do you have any question? If you have some question, you can turn your microphone and ask to the teacher your question. Okay? Is clear, guys? Hello, guys. Samuel, Ferdy, Luciana, is clear?
I hope I did not make them fall asleep.
Maria Roberta, I say that now everything is clear, but what part is not clear for you, Maria? You can turn your microphone and ask directly your question to the teacher, okay? Please, you have to participate in the class, guys. What is your
For
question?
me,
Okay.
until now, everything is clear. I'm gonna just have a look after the lesson because I just joined it today, the class, and just yesterday I joined as well the school. That's why I'm gonna have a look after.
All right, okay, everyone. If it's clear, then I would say bye to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sad. Thank you guys for being here. And remember, always you have to be at the time that they start the class, okay? Because if you try to do into the class after, you don't going to understand everything, okay? Enjoy the day, guys, and I see you next class. Wonderful day. Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye, Rafaela, Maria, Samuel, Matthew, Facundo, Stephen.
See you. Bye.
Yeah, say bye, guys. Maria, bye.
Bye, teacher.